if there's anything else you would like said about yourself, the floor is yours.
All right. Congratulations, new board members.
I hereby adjourn the 2026 Historical Society of Middleton meeting.
Cool.
Got that.
I was hoping you would hold off on the adjournment until we get done with this.
They came for you, not me.
God said to Noah, build me a boat. Something big's about to go down. And Noah said, God, I'm a simple man. I don't even know what a boat is. And why should I, what am I going to do with this boat? And God thought for a minute. Should I tell him? What if he spills the beans? And then he remembered why he picked Noah in the first place. Noah's a righteous man. He's not going to spill the beans. And even if he does, who's going to believe him? And so God told Noah why he needed this boat. And Noah's eyes grew big. I said, oh, God, I'm going to have to think about this. And God said, don't think too long. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And Noah said, don't worry about it. Now, God was really worried that Noah would get busy and forget. But he didn't. Now, I know when God asks you to do something, I mean, you're going to do one of two things. You're going to go to your psychiatrist and you're going to say, Doc, God just told me to build a big boat. Is it all in my head? Well, they didn't have psychiatrists back then. And Noah, he was a righteous man. He wanted to do the righteous thing. And he thought, well, what the heck? And so 2 days go by, and he goes out into the field, and he raises his hands like this. He said, God, are you there? And God said, yes, I'm here. What did you decide? And Noah said, count me in. But I don't know the first thing, how am I supposed to build this boat? And God said, don't you worry about that. We got people who do that. And he gave him a slip of paper. And Noah packed his trunk and he hopped a steamer for Newport News, Rhode Island. That's where they build all of the big ships. Right? And he arrived in Newport News and he rented a horse and he went down to the tavern. It's called the Minnow. And there he was supposed to seek out a man by the name of Jonas Grumby. Most people know him by the name of the Skipper. And so Noah rented a horse and he rode into town. And he got to the Minnow, and he tied up his horse outside, and he went into the bar. Now the skipper, things were hard in these days, and so everybody had two jobs. So the skipper, not only did he build ships, he actually, he's known for building the icebreakers that eventually cut through Guadalcanal, which made it that much easier for us to defeat the Japanese in World War II. Now the U.S. Navy didn't have to sail all the way around the Horn to get to Japan. No, they could cut straight through Guadalcanal. Anyway, so Noah ties up his horse outside the bar, and he walks into the bar, and the skipper waves him over, and he points. He says, why the long face? See, the horse got loose. It came into the bar. And so Noah said, hang on. And he took the horse outside and he tied him up and he came back into the bar and he said, are you the skipper? And the skipper said, yes. And Noah said, well, I got a job for you. And he handed him a napkin with Noah's sketches, which weren't very good. And he said, well, skipper, can you build this boat? And the skipper said, I can build anything. And he took the sketch and then he took a napkin and he wrote a bunch of numbers on the napkin. And he handed it to Noah. And even though Noah couldn't read, he saw that, whoa, that's a lot of numbers. And so he told the skipper, I got to check with the boss. And so he runs out back so that the horse doesn't see him into the alley. And he goes like this, God, are you there? And God said, yes, I'm here. And Noah handed him the napkin. And God said, Jesus Christ. Can I say that? and so then Jesus shows up. He said, what's up, Dad? What do you want? And God said, oh, no. It's just an expression, okay? Just go back to what you were doing. And so Jesus went out, and he rolled his eyes, because that's what kids do, right? You ask them to do something. Anyway, enough of that. So God said, well, you know what? Let's do this. Go back to the skipper and ask him, we don't need a fancy icebreaker, whatever. Have him make it out of wood. And, very important point. Make sure he agrees to net 40, okay? Net 40. Noah said, okay, I don't know what that is, but what the heck. So he went back into the bar and he told the skipper, okay, just make it out of wood, maybe some copper trim, just a simple boat. And skipper said, yeah, I could do that. And he wrote some other numbers and Noah nodded, okay. And he said, oh, and by the way, it's got to be net 40. And skipper said, well, normally we don't do terms. It's 50% up front, and then the balance is due upon delivery, right? I mean, come on. I'm not saying anything against your character, Noah, but you could just sail off, and when am I going to get paid? And then Noah whipped out a letter of credit, from the source. And the skipper looked at the letter and he said, you know what? Okay. I agree to the terms. So, he agreed to the terms and Noah said, well, when can I have the boat? And skipper said, well, it takes about a year to build a proper boat. And Noah said, a year? He's thinking, like, should I tell the skipper why I need this boat? And it's like, no, this is like a top secret mission, so no, we can't tell him. He said, well, that's such a long time. I don't know if this can wait. And skipper said, okay, you know what? Tell you what, for an extra 10%, rush charges, I'll do it in 6 months. And Noah said, okay. And off he went to gather the animals. Oh, I didn't tell you this part. So, when God described this project, he said to Noah, all right, you got to gather 2 of each kind of animal. Right? Not 1, not 3. 2, no more. And it's got to be a male and a female. And I was like, huh? And, well, so that afterwards, oh, okay. And so now, Noah had 6 months to gather all the animals. Now, gathering animals is hard, right? It's like herding cats, which are also animals. And so off Noah went, and it's not easy. I mean, right? Have you ever seen a goat? Like he's like trying to grab a goat over here, and then the other one's running this way, and dogs and cats and cows and loraxes and all the different animals from all four corners of the earth, which was there weren't as many animals in those days. Like, I mean, can you imagine doing it now? You need a big boat. And so he did that, and meanwhile, 6 months go by. Noah shows up down at the dock. Well, yeah. No, he went to the bar, and the skipper's there, and Noah said, well, where's my boat? And the skipper shook his head. And he said, I'm very, very sorry, but due to the longshoremen's strike, your boat's not ready. Come back in another 6 months. And you know what? You don't have to pay the rush charges. Well, even though Noah was worried, he's thought, okay, you know what, because he hadn't collected all the animals yet. You know, some of them are pretty fast, like the greyhounds. And you know, if they're anything like, we have 2 dogs, okay? We got Zuki and Maisie. This, me and my wife. And Maisie, she's a nut, right? If you tried taking her out for a walk, she gets up on her hind legs and she's like so excited, right? And you know, and then Zuki's running this way and trying to get them together just to go for a walk. And here's Noah, right? He's not just dealing with Zuki and Maisie. He's got everything. But Noah's a great man, great organizer, and you know, he was sort of the original Dr. Dolittle. The animals, or a dog whisperer. What he and the animals, they had, right, simpatico. So he got all the animals together, and he brought them down to the Home Depot at the dock in Newport News, and the year was up, the boat was ready, and off they went.